Great day to you and to you and to you and to you. Good morning, great grand rising, whatever time of day it is that you're watching me. So excited, delighted, and privileged to be with you here on today. You know what to do. Tag and share, share and tag. 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 So excited to be with you. What a blessing it is. Grand Rising, Vivian, thank you for the reminder. In the next couple of days, work on that confession or affirmation for you. Thank you for the reminder. Thank you all for coming in. Tag and share, share and tag. I don't intend to be too long this morning. Just have a couple of things I want to maybe discuss with you. Then we'll move forward. Share and tag, tag and share. Almighty, I'm so grateful today for this opportunity to explore this terrain, this spiritual, unlimited terrain with these wonderful people. We open our hearts up to you. We are already one with you. Speak out of the infinite recesses of your own mind. Thank you for portals that are open within us, the unlimited divine. Thank you, thank you, thank you for what's been done and what's yet to occur. And we praise you for our transcendence. We praise you that we are becoming closer and closer to you, more and more aware of you and who we are. And we bless you in Yeshua's name. By his consciousness, by his power, it is so and so it is. Thank you. After you've shared, simply type I shared. After you've shared, simply type I shared. I welcome those who are joining as well on YouTube. So again, honored and privileged to be with you here on today. I always like to encourage you from the onset to help you to understand, recognize, and realize, according to Philippians 4, that I can. And I can do all things through Christ, through the Christos, through the mind of Christ, through the power of Christ, through the innate power that we possess. I can, and I will. And I want you to type it in the comment section. I can. That's it. Type it in the comment section. I can. I can. Type that in the comment section. I can. I can. Sometimes it seems like it's the opposite, but on this broadcast, I only like to discuss I can. I only like to discuss I can. I only like to put my faith in I can. The negatives don't work here. I can. And I want you to speak it out loud. I can. I can navigate this maybe troublesome, emotional terrain or ground in my life. I can be restored. I can be renewed. I can endure. I can overcome. I can master myself. I can keep my sanity. I can be closer to God. Type it in the comment section. I can. I can. I can. You've got to know that you can. You've got to believe that you can. You've got to see I can. It's what you have to see in your heart. You have to see I can. In your heart of hearts, as we say, you've got to see I can. You're made in the image and likeness, I believe, of an unlimited almighty creator. You're not powerless, you're powerful. You're fearfully and wonderfully made. And I want you to type it in the comment section now and speak it out loud. I am powerful. Speak it. Come on, speak it. Declare it, decree it, and own the power. I am powerful. Come on, type it in the comment section. I am powerful. I am powerful. I want you to think about what you may have faced last week that appeared to be an obstacle and declare, I am powerful. You may have awakened with an emotion or a thought that is opposing you right now that may be trying to drag you down. I want you to declare and decree out loud your power by saying, I am powerful. Yes, I am powerful enough to control my thoughts, my images, my emotions, my feelings. I am powerful enough to pray and my prayers are heard. I am powerful enough to release divine power to overcome sickness and disease. I am powerful. My God, I feel that today. Hallelujah. Bless the name of the Almighty. I am powerful. I am powerful. Yes, I am. I am powerful. Come on, I'm waiting on it to come up in the comment section. It might be moving a little bit too slow, but it's all good. Come on, type it in the comment section. I am powerful. I am powerful. I am powerful. You are the power. You are the power. So own the power. There it is. It's coming up now. Thank you, Pastor Cotton. I am powerful. I am powerful. I am powerful. You are that power. Own that power. Be that power. Don't be ashamed of that power. Don't resist that power. Know that power because you are the power. Oh, such a wonderful thing to know who and what you are, to be able to step into that space and that place and to own it. Don't forget to follow me on social media. You can see the various social media handles I'm on at the bottom of it. And as you visit and like videos there, don't forget to, in your private time while you're perusing or cruising or surfing the net or scrolling, take some videos and share it with people that you think it would be a blessing to. And don't forget to give your likes and hearts. Share them today. It does have a positive impact on the algorithm in a way that it alerts Facebook that people are watching and people are reacting. And therefore, the algorithm starts working even more in our favor to draw people into our conversation on today. All right. Again, I'm grateful to be with you. I don't endeavor to be with you long today. I want to remind you that I'm doing some teaching on Wednesday night. I've already gotten some wonderful feedback from that series that I started. It was going to be 2 parts. I think it's going to be 3 now. And the series is entitled How to Deal with Toxic Family, which in essence, we're going to be learning how to deal with toxic people. So make sure that you tune in this Wednesday. It won't end this Wednesday. It'll also go to the next Wednesday. If you have not seen the first installment, I want to encourage you, make your way down the timeline on this page while it's still up or on YouTube and make sure that you watch that. I think it's going to be very powerful and have a wonderful, wonderful impact on you on today. All right. How's everybody doing today? Talk back to me. How you doing? How you doing? How's your day going, whether you're live or in replay? Tell me, how are you doing? I want to know how you're doing. Talk to me. Tell me how you're doing. How is everyone doing today? Talk back to me. I just want to know. How are you? How are you? How is everything? I hope and trust that all is well. Talk to me. Talk to me. Talk to me. How are you today? How are you? Of course, it's the weekend for some people who are watching me. And remember, whatever you respond to is subjective. It is a very, very, very subjective thing. Your response is very subjective. And so what you say is what you say, okay, in terms of how you feel. So I want you to talk back to me real quickly, and tell me, how are you feeling today? How are you feeling today? Let's see the comments here. Enjoying the summers. All right, wonderful. Anyone else? Anyone else? Better dealing with a little sinus still, but thankful. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. What a blessing. What a blessing. What a blessing. Thank you so much for sharing that. Now, you know what I'm getting ready to ask you, right? You know exactly what I'm getting ready to ask you. That wonderful, deep question, thought provoking question I'm getting ready to ask you. And that is, drum roll, please. What's in your cup? What's in your cup? What's in your cup? Now, I have, I think this is French roast coffee. And Vivian has suggested this creamer months ago. So I went out and I ordered me some Cinnabon creamer. So that's what's in my cup right now. Grand rising to you, Pamela. Okay, she's on YouTube right now. What's in your cup? Pamela says she's got Sprite. I just shared with you what I got in mine. No judgment zone here. What's in yours? What's in your cup? Talk to me, family. What's in your cup? That's what I want to know. What you're sipping on, or you can even tell me what's on your plate if you want to. So Pam's got on YouTube, she's got Sprite. Linda says she's got Kool-Aid. All right, it's been a minute since I had some Kool-Aid. Anyone else? Let's see. Pastor Cotton on YouTube says electrolytes. Okay, that's good stuff. Krista Faith, my Krista, she's got cranberry juice. Awesomeness, awesomeness. And then Vivian is fasting. I thought she was going to wow us today. Doing a morning fast. Awesomeness, awesomeness. Thank everybody for sharing what's in your cup on today. Of course, Pastor Cotton beat me to the punch, wishing everyone a happy Father's Day to all fathers. And that's kind of what I'm going to talk about for a few minutes. Talk a little bit about fathers on today. Again, if you're just coming in, don't forget to tag and share. And share and tag and share. Share and tag. I say it again, tag and share. Share and tag. Thank you for sharing your feelings and emotions with me on today. And I'm so appreciative that you would generously open yourselves up to connect with us. We are your family, and we are your online family and offline family too, if that's what you want us to be. All right. I'm trying to decide what text I'm going to use here on today. It's kind of what I'm considering. The text I'm going to use here on today. I think I'm going to do Mark 5. Let's go to Mark 5. I don't really plan to exegete it. Yeah, I think we want Mark 5. Let's see. And I guess we'll begin at verse 22. Verse 22. And behold, there cometh one of the rulers of the synagogue. It says Jairus in King James, is Iris or Eirus, because there's no J in Hebrew, by name. And when he saw him, he fell at his feet and besought him greatly, saying, My little daughter lieth at the point of death. I pray thee, come and lay thy hands on her. She may be healed, and she shall live. And we'll stop there. This just going to talk to you a little bit about fatherhood and a father's love. Lead us and guide us, Almighty. We bless you in Yeshua's name. It is so, and so it is. So this is Father's Day, and in concert, in harmony and unity with Pastor Cotton, I again wish all who are watching me today who are fathers a happy, happy Father's Day. I'm going to say a little bit about fatherhood. I don't usually talk about subjects, on different days. I just prefer to just continue to discuss what I've been discussing, but I want to encourage not just the men today who are on, but the women today, especially women who are single, women who are in the market to be married, and it doesn't matter what age it is. This subject is relevant for you, and it's relevant for you to hear as well. And so I want to take a few minutes and kind of talk to you about fathers and the relevance and importance of fatherhood itself. All right. I'm going to start out with some statistics. I'll skip around. Now, some of these stats are old. I got some that are more up to date. But there's a chilling statistic that was out there years ago that said over 50% of children in North America will grow up at some point in time in a single parent home. 1/30th, or 1/3 of live births are to unmarried women. Over 1 million men with children under 18 are in prison. And every year, thousands of children lose their fathers prematurely due to untimely accidents and illnesses. Did you know that fatherless children are 2 to 5 times more likely to drop out of school? Did you know that 75% of people in drug abuse centers come from fatherless homes? Did you know that most gang members do not have a father in the home? 90% of homeless and runaway teens come from fatherless homes. 71% of teenage pregnancies are of children of single parents. 75% of all teen suicides are to children of single parents. Children of single parents are 2 to 3 times more likely to have emotional and behavioral problems, and 85% of all youth in prison grew up in a fatherless home. I did this research years ago, so it's probably updated. It's been updated since then, but it's still in the ballpark figure. Here's another interesting tidbit of information. Even from birth, children who have an involved father are more likely to be emotionally secure, be confident to explore their surroundings, and as they grow older, have better social connection with peers. A couple more things I want to share, then I'm going to delve into a few pointers that I would just share with you again. Children with involved loving fathers are significantly more likely to do well in school, have healthy self-esteem, exhibit empathy and pro-social behavior, and avoid high-risk behaviors such as drug use, truancy, and criminal activity compared to children who have uninvolved fathers. All right. So I've shared some quotes with you. Is there anybody who was familiar with any of those things I just said? Talk to me, family. Anybody familiar with any of those statistics that I just shared with you? All right. And I'm honored to be able to say that, remember, these are statistics. They're not guarantees. You get to decide your own fate. And you get to decide with your underage children what happens in their lives. Thank you for your responses. Some of you knew, some of you didn't. All right. I'm sharing this because, and don't get me, and I want to interject this. I have come from a lineage of strong women who, for example, my grandmother, who next month is about to turn 104 years old, has 8 children, 7 with her husband who died, who was my mother's father, who died when all her children were very young. And then she met a man later in life, made a baby with him. And that man was involved with my youngest uncle. But for the most part, my grandmother raised all those children herself. Same way on my father's side. He was the oldest of 13. And when my grandfather died, my father, of course, was the oldest, I think in his early 20s. Yes, he was the only one that was married. And the youngest uncle on my father's side was just a few weeks old. And my grandma Green, so mother's side, Hillary Triplett, father's side, um, grandma Alberta Green, they raised, one raised 13, the other raised 8. And they all turned out, well, most of them. The Green side, we got our share of stuff, people going to jail and all that. But for the most part, my grandmother turned out upstanding children. Both of my grandmothers is what I'm trying to say. So you don't have to be caught by a statistic, but every woman is not strong enough to provide the kind of guidance that my grandmother's provided for her children. My mother, Hillary Triplett, was tough. Both of them were tough, but Hillary was extremely tough and raised her boys in the city of St. Louis in the ghetto. You know what I'm saying? Until she moved out. And so she was rough stuff. Love God, all of that. So what I'm trying to say is, just because you hear statistics I don't want you to say that this has to be the fate of your children if your father's not present. I'm saying that and laid the groundwork because I think that there's a movement to eradicate masculinity. And don't get me wrong, excessive masculinity is toxic. We've seen too much toxic masculinity, and we've seen too much abusive patriarchy. I raise my hand to that. I agree with that wholeheartedly. I think men, in many respects, have dropped the ball. But nevertheless, if the Almighty hasn't created male and female, and then if the Almighty has enabled us to have certain innate intrinsic characteristics, when I say that, I mean from a brain perspective, a physiological perspective, and then, of course, we have the roles of father and mother, then these things are purposeful. These things are purposeful. And so my cousin Terrell would use the word feminize. I use the word emasculate. And there's an assault and an attack on gender roles, gender presence. And so there's a movement on to wipe out the definition of father and wipe out the definition of mother, and I'll never be on that bandwagon. So I gave you those statistics to help you to understand that if you are a single mother, you've got to be diligent, extremely diligent in ensuring that you are raising your children in such a way that they don't fall into the pit of those statistics that I just read. I also am bringing this up because I want people to realize in a country, again, a nation, a world that is producing a lot of single parent families. Both genders are of vital importance. They're indispensable. And today we're just highlighting fathers. So never underestimate the value of a good father. Never underestimate the value of a good father. And basically, a father is defined to be a biological male parent of an offspring. There are several categories of fathers. Now, kind of cover that in just a few minutes. I'm not trying to cover the whole gamut, but I'll cover that in just a few minutes. So I want to underscore today, and especially in the African-American community, Lord, I really don't want to get too controversial this morning, but the African-American community is seeing a huge hit in terms of appropriate role models and fathers. Now, don't get me wrong. Let me say this again. The narrative out there about Black fathers is false. I do believe that most Black fathers are good fathers. All right. I do believe that, despite what you might see depicted on social media and on television. But yet and still, I do believe that there's a conspiracy, an underlying conspiracy to destroy Black men. And of course, along with that, Black fathers. So I want to encourage women of all colors and races who are watching me today, but mainly women of African descent watch me, that nurture your boys to be good fathers. And then if you're not with that partner, encourage that partner to be a part of your children's lives. And I know some of you have cases where the father is just absent, and you can't do anything about that except be the best mother you can. Try in such a way to expose them to positive role models, male role models. More importantly, you trust the Almighty, you trust God to guide you. So back to my original point, I just want to underscore today the relevance and importance of fatherhood. And we got all kinds of folk out here today. I have met people who talking about they want to have a baby without a man. You a fool. You're foolish to want to have a child without a man. There's something going on with you psychologically. To think that you have enough masculinity in you as a woman to provide what that young child needs. That's number one. Number two, if you're a man and you're thinking the same thing, you want to be a single parent without a woman, you're a fool too. You're foolish. Maybe that's how I should rephrase it. You're foolish. Children are designed, and I was just looking up some things today before I came on. I won't get into it. But do you realize that there are different centers of the brain that I don't want to say highlighted, but light up, that illuminate? That's the best way of saying it. That are activated when a male speaks and when a female speaks. And I won't get into that today, but somebody sent me a clip of a preacher, and the preacher reminded them of me. That's why they sent it to me as a loved one. What a wonderful caption. This reminds him of his brother, his big brother, whatever he calls me. I'm really cousins. And this preacher is making a profound point in his presentation, talking about how we need the voice of women like we need the voice of men, and how there are different portions of the brain that are stimulated and triggered by the voice of a man and the voice of a woman, and kind of how you process information and process life based on those voices. So even down to anatomical design in terms of your neurological system, it is designed for us to be not only bred by both sexes, but to be guided or spoken to and led by both genders. All right. So there's this move on to eradicate that. And I don't want to get into that because I'm very empathetic to people's plights, what they call saying gender loving people and all that. I don't want to get into that kind of stuff. That's a conversation for another time. It's not a world that I'm in. It's not a world that I'm a part of. I love them for who they are, but you cannot replace what God intended, and you can never replace what nature intended. There might be substitutes, and there might be some decent substitutes, but it'll never be like the original. It'll never measure up to the original. All right. I'm going to say it again. It'll never measure up to the original. There's something about the original copy, the original blueprint. So I'm talking to you today, especially, and a lot of you all are single, because, and even if you've got grown children, this message applies to you, because your children may not need a father. They may have a father that's present, but at the same time, you don't want to bring a man into your life, whether you have young children or grown children, and he's a crappy father. Not only is he a crappy father, he's a crappy man. You don't want to bring no low-level man, whatever age he is, to connect with your family, and he's a no good father, no matter what age your children are. Okay? Different kinds of fathers. There's a natural father, which is the most common category, product of a child that's a product of a man and a woman. There's a surprise father, what they call a surprise father. This is a father who didn't know they were a father until years later. It was hid from them. Posthumous father. This is a father who died before his children were born. And do you realize there are more and more posthumous fathers that exist now? because there are some women who have frozen the sperm of their husbands before they pass and are allowing themselves to be impregnated by that spermatoza after the father has passed. Isn't that amazing? I don't want to get into no gory stuff that has happened to men after they've died in terms of that stuff too. The actual physical act, how women have gotten pregnant. I don't want to get into that, but posthumous fathers are becoming very popular, not just because the man conceived with the woman before he passed, but even after he passed, if they froze his sperm, the women can go back and get that sperm and have themselves injected through a procedure and become pregnant by the man who's no longer there. So there's a lot of that going on today. We've got child, teenage, youthful fathers. These are just basically young boys who become fathers at a young age. We've got non-parental fathers. These are unmarried fathers whose name does not appear on a child's birth certificate, does not have legal responsibility, but continues to have a financial responsibility. This is prominent here and in the UK. And of course, there's a sperm donor father. They got a genetic connection, but the man doesn't have legal or financial responsibilities. Then you've got non-biological fathers, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that today. I don't like the term stepfather. I like bonus father. But it's a wife who has a partner, whose partner has a child from a previous relationship. A stepfather, y'all know what that is, but I prefer bonus. You've got adoptive fathers. A child is adopted by a man. You've got foster fathers. You've got a cuckolded father. That's where a child is the product of a man's adulterous relationship. There's a lot of those going out there too. Again, the child is a product of a mother's adulterous relationship. So she most likely was married, or either one of them was married, but they made a child with somebody else outside of the, marriage bed. There's a social father where the man takes a de facto responsibility for a child. And then there's a mother's partner, assumption that current partner fills the father's roles. You got weekend holiday fathers. You got absent fathers. There's all kinds of fathers. All kinds of fathers that exist out there, different categories of fathers. And like I said, they're trying to add to this since I first did this research years ago. So I wanted to go through that, and I want to speak from the heart today about the power of a father's love. And we see here in Mark chapter 5 that Jairus, or Jairus as he's called, is the ruler of, I believe, of the synagogue. His daughter is at the point of death, and he's driven by his love for his daughter to find Yeshua, And so I think one thing that people underestimate today, including myself, I did it with my father, I underestimated the power of a good father's love, the power of a real father's love. And let me say this to you. And I'm going to make my points and I'm going to be done. I say this as a man about women. There's no love like a mother's love. There's two kinds of love there's no love like for me as a man from a male perspective. Well, other than my children, so if I could say three. There's no love like a mother's love. Okay. And when I say mother, I also mean grandmother, because it's just like grandmothers are just like the epitome of love. Good grandmothers, loving grandmothers. I mean, I had two loving grandmothers. One's still alive. Like I said, she's about to turn 104, the Lord willing. She makes it till next month. She oozes with love. Her voice sounds like love. Her wisdom comes out like love. She's just dripping with love. When you have a good mother, there's nothing like being loved by a good mother. There's nothing like being loved by a woman who is balanced and loves you unconditionally, who is there for you and supportive of you. And then last but not least, as a man, there's nothing like being loved by his children, period. So the reverse is also true. There's nothing like being loved by a good father, a good father. I'm going to say it again. There's nothing like being loved by a good father. It's irreplaceable. Okay. A man's love is a little bit different than a woman's love. And the way we interact and sometimes the way we express that is different. All right. But when it's genuine and it's from the heart, from a man, it's irreplaceable. It's irreplaceable. And sometimes the man doesn't have that softness and tenderness that the woman has, but he's got his softness and tenderness in his own way. Okay. It's different, but it's yet powerful. It's yet powerful. So we need fathers today to love, guide, and be present. We'll say it again. We need fathers today to love, guide, and to be present. So I say to you, do the best you can if you've got a father that's not available to your children. And some of you have tried, so that ship has already sailed. I get that. But others, there's still hope there. There may be still hope there. Never talk negative about them. Never talk them down, no matter how bad they treated you. Let them discover on their own what this man is like. But if you can, allow that man to be present. Don't use children as human shields and weapons. Like I see a lot of that happening today. We've got people who are using their children as bargaining chips. Don't do that. You're gonna reap that one day. And again, I've said this to scores and scores of people I've counseled down through the years. And I've said this to men. I've said this to men who weren't present and available in their children's lives. I said, you need to do it now while they're young. I encourage them to be consistent because I say one day they're going to grow up and they're not going to care if you're present or not. And so I'm saying to you, wonderful, wonderful, awesome, fine, intelligent women who are watching me today, if you're in situations like that, if you can, allow the man to have an opportunity to be the father. And naturally, if you have custody, then the ground rules are set. But let that man be a man and let that man contribute as a father if that's what he wants to do. We do need fathers to be father figures to the fatherless. Now, I have a couple of scriptures. I'm not going to go to them. Deuteronomy 25, 5 through 8, and Genesis 38, 8 through 10. A lot of people don't understand that one of the reasons why Abraham would have taken Lot in that century with him, his nephew, is because when Lot's father died, the eldest brother or another brother would step in and act as a father figure. And I've counseled men down through the years who felt a disconnect because they weren't biological fathers. They either came into the life usually after the first series of children were there. And I always encourage them, even if there's another father available, that this is an opportunity for you to be a man and to be a father. And if you do it right, even if there's another man present, they're going to always love you. They're going to always respect you. And they're going to always appreciate you. And I say this again, I'd hate to keep emphasizing this, but this is very relevant in the Black community. There's so many fatherless Black children, not just fatherless boys, but fatherless girls. I've been blessed that I've been adopted by a couple of young men who called me their father. Their fathers weren't present in their lives. And I, out of love, I felt an obligation to be there for them, and I'm still there for them. One lived with me for like 3 or 4 years, went on to get married. They're still present in my life. They would do anything they could for me because I have shown that I have loved them unconditionally and would do whatever I could for them. It was part of my responsibility as a man of God, as a man of the Most High, and as a man who's a part of this giant diasporic African village to play my role, do my role as a man. And I'm not out here looking for that. But if it fits me, it fits me. So I will love on them. I will pour into them. I will give them whatever time and resources that are mine. I will share it with them. All right. Because that is a part of my responsibility. That's the way it was in the ancient world. A father usually was the living uncle would step up and take the role. Now, it's not this way today, thank God. But many times when the brother died, it was the responsibility of, if a brother died, the father to replace with the daughter-in-law a husband. This is when polygamy was present. The husband would usually, the next husband would usually be one of the father-in-law's sons. So this need and these guidelines to keep the family tight, to keep the family strong, to keep the family knitted together, to keep the cohesion and the bond as solid as possible, was something that was incorporated into ancient families. Ancient families. I want you to type it in the comment section, the word village. Type the word village in the comment section. Type the word village in the comment section. Type the word village in the comment section. Type that real quickly for me. Let me see how many more minutes I got here. Give me about 20 more minutes. Type the word village. Type the word village in the comment section. Type the word village. And I'm almost done. I'm pretty much done with my little notes here, because I'm not going to go to too many more scriptures. Listen, you want your life to be a part of a village. Now, many times when we make references to Africa, when we talk about the village, I want you to understand the village is an ancient concept that's thousands of years old. All Africans, because African nations evolved to high-tech civilizations, they were no longer villages, of course. They were thriving metropolis. They had a thriving metropolis in many of those places on the continent. But the village concept is basically going back, predating the development of human civilization into bustling and hustling and bustling metropolises. And the concept was the structure of the family, how there was a family clan, a mother and a father, and then you had grandparents and sometimes great-grandparents. And of course, those offspring were subject to the elders in the village. And everybody had a hand and a responsibility in helping to develop their families. They had this responsibility. You were taught about your concept of God by your family. You were taught how to be a man or a woman by your family. You were married by your family, by an elder in your family. Before you married, you received counsel, instruction, and endorsement from the elders in your family. And then after you got married, this same village, these same elders would advise you after you were married. This was the village our ancestors were a part of. And this is why their family units were much stronger. And this is why they were able to do and produce some of the great things they did in the ancient world. Now, why am I bringing this concept up? It's because we typically don't try and live by that concept of a village anymore. People just think they're supposed to do stuff on their own. And people just think that I'm supposed to coast along in this life and learn everything myself or learn everything selectively. And I'm saying this, a father has a role in the village. A mother has a role in the village. Children have a role in the village. Uncles and aunts have a role in the village. Cousins have a role in the village. Okay. Today we're talking about the father's role. In ancient times, again, the father was the spiritual leader. The father might be the priest of the home. The father would teach discipline and lead households. Sometimes the father in Judaistic systems was the prophet of the home, the priest of the home. Do you realize that in the Greek, the word father is a Greek word pater? It means originator, source, sustainer, nurturer. So fathers also have a role to nurture their children. But if you're a father who's in a marriage, you're also going to nurture your spouse. You're not only going to nurture your children. All right. So I want you to understand the village concept is important because we need male and female energy, and we need male and female perspectives. I'm going to say it again. We need male and female energy. We need male and female perspectives. We need male and female guidance. You need both. So some of you all have been in situations where you've been scarred and wounded by men who are terrible fathers. And I say to you, Number one, don't develop a hardness to think that most men are like that, because that's not the truth. Secondly, create an environment in your heart and in your mind where you make peace with whatever type of father that man is, and that you believe at some point in time you've left the door open for him to walk through it, to play his role. If he never walks through it to play his role, you're going to continue to partner with God and the Almighty to be the best single parent that you can be. Don't get bitter, get better. Don't be discouraged, be encouraged. And let me say this too while I'm at the station. If you're in a situation and you've made babies and the father is absent, I want you to stop beating yourself up. I'll say it again. I need you to stop beating yourself up. I need you to stop blaming yourself. I want to ask you a question. If the father is not present because you didn't make the right choice at the time, what does that have to do with right now, today? That was then. This is now. How much longer are you going to continue to rehearse and relive those mistakes? What I want to encourage you to do moving forward is, if you're single, partner with God to bring a good man or a great man into your life, if it's necessary, that will act as a sort of surrogate father, act as a bonus father, act as a father figure. I've seen many situations like that where the bio dad was a terrible dad. The mom was blessed to marry a man that was a good man who was an excellent father. And many times that man was more of a father than the bio dad was. It's possible. Come on, type it in the comment section. All things are possible when we believe. Type that in the comment section. All things are possible when we believe. I'm going to give you a few pointers and then I'm going to be done. I'm going to give you a few more pointers and then I'm going to be done. Type it in the comment section. All things are possible when we believe. All things are possible when we believe. Type that in the comment section. All things are possible when we believe. I'm waiting on it to come up. So it's not impossible, is what I'm trying to tell you. It's not over with. Stop dragging yourself through the mud and don't let people drag you through the mud. See, if you had done this, where their fathers at? No, just no. We don't allow people to take us there anymore. Don't allow folks to take you there anymore. That's done. Now you're sowing different seeds that's going to bring up different kind of fruit. All right. So I'm going to give you a few pointers. I've given you a little bit of what a man should do. Let me revise that again. A man is going to be a nurturer in his own right. He's going to be a sustainer and a provider in his own right. Then that's not just naturally, that's spiritually, that's psychologically. I found out as a father that a father doesn't need to be the kind of father he wants to be. He needs to be the kind of father his children need him to be. The fathers should teach discipline. If they're in the household, there should be a leader in that household. They're going to guard. They're going to protect. All right. These are some of the things that a good father is going to do. And understand this. A father doesn't have to be rich and have a lot of money, but if he's rich in love and if he's present and available, please do not kick that father to the curb. Don't vilify him and talk about him like a dog because his pockets are not deep. What I've learned growing up, and then what I've learned being a father, and then I've learned counseling other people is, as it relates to children, most of the time are not concerned about how deep their pockets are. They're concerned about how deep the love is their parents had for them. I need to say that. All right. Yes, a man should provide. Yes, a man should do what he is supposed to do and can do. But sometimes it's not happening. But if that father's present, if that father's calling his children, if he's picking them up, if he's sending money when he can, if he's loving on them, if he's helping guide them, be grateful and thankful for that. All right. There are other discussions I want to have about males and female relationships. I'll do at a different time. how we approach these things, handle these things, so forth and so on. But I want to give you a little tidbit of information right here, right quick, and I'm going to be done. All right. If you are sizing up a man, number one, can I get a little bit personal? Can I get a little bit personal? Can I get a little bit personal? Even when I was out there in the streets doing stuff, before I, was converted and started living a different lifestyle, one of the things I always thought in my mind was, what if I get her pregnant? What? And the reason I would ask myself that question is because I knew that I was going to be connected to the hip, directly or indirectly, to whoever carried my children. But at the same time, I also wanted to make sure that those children, if it happened, had a good mother, even if that didn't work out with us or not. Okay. And I'm blessed to say, even though I'm single, my children have a wonderful mother. All right. The reason I'm bringing this up is because there's certain signs you have to look at. Certain things you have to look at. For example, if a person appeared to be, and let me draw this line, you can be a great lover and a terrible father. I'm going to say it again. You can be a great lover and a terrible father, but watch this. You can also be a good father and a terrible lover or a terrible companion. Whoa. Did you hear what I just said? They don't always line up. And when you can get all three of those that I just said, you're batting 1,000. You're batting 100%. All right. So number one, look for mental instability. If somebody is mentally unstable, they're probably not going to make the best father. I'm just giving you off the top of my head. Okay. If they're mentally unstable, they're probably not going to be the best father. So if you start seeing signs of mental instability, mental health issues, okay, and in the realm of mental health, I'm going to go to number two, and that relates to number one. Let me expand a little bit on number one. But if you see some quirks, some tendencies that seem to be a little bit off, then you you should consider going down a different path. Okay. And what happens many times, family, is, Lord, I need a private session with y'all because I just really want to get raw with you. But what happens many times is when our emotions get involved, when our pleasure centers get involved, it can cloud our judgment, and we can see symptomology or red flags. Okay. But overlook them because the way we feel with them or the way they make us feel. So if you see any of these things, this mental instability, they might not be good fathers. I'm not saying that's 100%, but I'm just saying in many cases, you at some point in time, you might not be able to count on them the way you should be able to count on them because that they have this mental instability. Now, if they can address this mental instability, some of it is rooted in trauma. There's a lot of people who are running around here with deep wells of trauma. That trauma creates dysfunction, and that trauma creates crooked, twisted, skewed paradigms. All right. Toxicity, poor understanding, different value systems. Lord have mercy. This is probably where I should have started. It's going to complicate their ability to be a good father when all this stuff is polluted and diluted. Am I making any sense thus far? So you look at family backgrounds, and let me tell you something. Can I have a few more minutes? Can I have a few more minutes? Yes or no? My baby mama's on here today. She's a great mother. She's a great mother. Look at backgrounds. I'm going to be honest. I didn't want to hear about backgrounds when I was coming up and trying to date and all that. My parents used to say, you know, you need to look in the background. This now. If I love so and so, why would I'm marrying so and so? Well, no, you're not just marrying so and so. You're marrying the traits and characteristics of so and so, and those traits and characteristics come from family. The way that person was raised, their belief system, all their traumas and fears and dysfunctions, you marry them. And many times they are birthed and born from a family unit. Am I making any sense to anybody right now? Okay. So you are, in a sense, marrying that family, because if that person you're with has not dealt with the toxicity that they were raised in or dealt with the baggage that they received from their family, you're taking that on. And sometimes mental instability is a part of that, or sometimes a skewed different way of seeing life is a part of that. Sometimes we've all been shaped and molded by people who raised us in a good sense or in a bad sense. It's just the way it is. All right. Which leads to point number 2. Please don't make babies with narcissists. Don't choose a baby. Don't marry a man that's a narcissist. Don't mess around and accidentally get pregnant by a man that's a narcissist. That goes back to this mental health thing in a sense. Self-centered is all about me. Just selfish. Don't do that. So you have to pay attention to how they treat others. Okay, how they treat others. How do they treat others? If you start seeing tendencies of selfishness in how they treat others, that's a red flag, ladies. That father might not be the most present father or the best father if they're still living where they're the center of the universe and living where they're the center of everything. I don't see no likes and hearts. Am I not talking good? You got folk out there that's narcissists. Narcissists are very selfish. They will do stuff only thinking about them, not the consequences to other people, how it's going to affect other people, how it's going to impact other people. Ooh, wow. Wow, wow, wow. And some of y'all know you see these traits. You see these traits. Let me say something to you, ladies. Let me say something to you, ladies. Let me say something to you, ladies. There's nothing wrong with connecting with a man who can become the father of your baby, who has a good financial IQ and lives on a budget. That's good. But don't get hooked up with a cheap man. And don't get hooked up with a selfish, cheap man. See, what he ought to say is, I don't have it now, but I'm going to work on getting you what you want. Because 9 times out of 10, if he treats you well, he will treat the children well. If he's unselfish with you, he'll be unselfish with the children. If he's willing to make sacrifices for you, he'll be willing to make sacrifices for his children. A good man, even if he's operating with a good financial IQ, will give you his last dime, will buy stuff for you and the kids before he will buy stuff for other people. You got to see these traits before you jump the broom. You need to see these traits before you open your mind and your legs. You need to see these traits before he starts shooting you up with sperm. And if you don't like it, shut it down. If you don't like it, send them to counseling. If you don't like it, try and address it. And if the person doesn't modify their behavior or become healed and whole, and like I said, sometimes this goes back to childhood. Sometimes they're raised in an environment where they needed it. They took on narcissism to survive. They took on, well, it's about me. I got to look out for me. Ain't nobody else looking out for me. Mama don't care. Brother them don't care. Whatever story or narrative they created to tell themselves, it became their core belief, which is the thing they reflect in reality. You hear what I'm saying? You know, and I have said this for years, and I got a couple witnesses on here. The greatest joy of my life is not being a teacher, a leader, or whatever. The greatest joy of my life is being a father. I'm just going to be honest. I don't care nothing about these other titles. I love loving my children. I love being a role model the best I can for them. If I feel like I'm letting them down, I get depressed and discouraged about that. A lot of my depression over the years hasn't been about just mistakes in romance. It's been about mistakes I may have made or felt like I wasn't living up to the image I wanted to for my children or being as present as I wanted to be for them. And I'm saying this, you're looking at the qualities in a man, how they treat you, how they treat other people, because that's most likely how they're going to treat their children. I'll give my last whatever. I would do it for my wife. I would do it for my children. I would do it for those people that I love. So you look for these qualities in a person, because there's going to come a time where sacrifice is going to be necessary. And if that person is constantly looking at themselves first, thinking about themselves all the time, then they're going to neglect their duties, not just financial. I'm talking about emotional duties. I'm talking about psychological duties with their children. You know, the love, emotional connection. That's another thing. I want you to type number 3. I want you to type this down, number 3. Number 2 was narcissism. Number 3 was be emotionally available. Somebody type that in the comment section. Be emotionally available. I'm almost out of time here, fam. Be emotionally available. Some of you all are connecting with men who have very low emotional IQs. Let me tell you what some of y'all are confusing here. Some of y'all confusing the state of mind that a man is in when he wants to be romantic versus the state of mind a man is in when he's not being romantic or not getting himself. They're not always the same thing. Okay? Am I making any sense? I could get deeper with this subject. Even in bed, there's a tenderness that a man will provide for you sexually, making sure you're all right, comfortable, all of that while he's fulfilling you. That man is doing it outside the bedroom too, making sure you're good, everything is straight with you, whatever. But there's a kind of man that's only tender and affectionate between the sheets. When it's over, when that orgasm is done, when that moment is over, that's over. Wow, wow, wow. They could care less about 2 cents about your existence, how you doing, you know, whatever. They can know you need stuff and won't. I need you to hear me. Anybody that knows me and has been connected to me, you know that if you get in my inner circle, I'll just send you stuff. I won't ask you if you need it. I'll just send it to you. If you tell me you got a problem, you'll get a shipment at my house. And my point is, you're looking for qualities in people that show that they are emotionally available. So, and this is a truth. This is a problem for me too. Still a problem for me. Communication. I'm not a dramatic person. I don't like to argue. I don't like to get in arguments. I ain't gonna lie. And then I got a little trauma of my own. I always shut down when folk when a woman want to argue, when people want to argue. Even my kid, I don't argue. I don't do a lot of that. I don't mind having heated, energetic conversations, but when you get to the point where, to me, you cross the line of dishonor and respect, then you're gonna lose me. So I get that, but my point is, you want an emotionally available man because that man, if he's emotionally available to you, there's a good chance he's going to be emotionally available to his kids. Kids need somebody who's not going to just boss them and tell them what to do, but who has conversations with them, who wants to hear them out, who will allow them to make mistakes. You hear what I'm saying? When they're hurting, they can feel when they're hurting. And they know what to say in that moment. It's not a get over it moment. This is a sit down next to you moment. And let's see how we can work this out, whether they're 2 years old or 22 years old. Am I making any sense to anybody? So you want to make sure you find a man that's emotionally available to your kids, because you as the woman can't be the only one who's trying to connect on an emotional level and understand. Remember, we are emotionally based. The Almighty gave us emotions for a reason. Yes, we don't always do a good job of managing them, but we need somebody at some point in time who can acknowledge our feelings and emotions, our thoughts, feelings, and emotions, and help deal with us in a way where we can navigate and walk through things. They're empathetic. It's not about being sympathetic, it's about being empathetic. Am I making any sense? Talk back to me. I see a few hearts there. So you want to marry somebody that's got an emotional IQ, because they're most likely going to be able to interact with, their children pretty well when they have them. They'll make themselves available to try and understand them, to try and connect with them. One of the worst things a parent can do is always be fussing. Fussy, fussy, fussy. That's like you're fussing all the time. And let me tell you what happens if you're a fussy parent. If you're a fussy parent all the time, when it's time to really, really reprimand and get hard on a child is not going to take it as well, because to them, you're always negative anyway with them. They start developing a mindset, I can't get nothing right. I can't do nothing right. So a man that has an high emotional IQ will do his best to connect with males and females. Some of y'all probably remember a couple of years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, my daughter gets something about this today, but I asked the women on Facebook, and I got scores and scores of answers. What do I do? I mean, I had an older boy, I got 2 boys and a girl. I wanted to know how to connect with her, how to relate with her. My relationship with her is different than a relationship with her mother. What do I do? I need some pointers. I had to talk to her differently than I talk to my oldest sons. I interact with her differently. My approach with her is different than it is with them. So you have to connect with somebody who has the desire and the drive to be the best father that they can be. Okay. Last but not least, and I'm going to stop it at 4 today. You want to look for a man, or you want to bring a man in your life to father your children or make babies with. Number 4, this last but not least, who makes being a father the top priority, or the highest priority, or of the highest priority in his life. So type number 4, being a father is a very high priority. Somebody type that. Being a father is a very high priority. Type that in the comment section. Being a father is a very high priority. Let me tell you why that's important. I should have paraphrased that. Being a good father. I'm sorry. Being a good father. Somebody retype that. Being a good father. Can you still hear me good? Being a good father is a high priority. Retype that for me. Being a good father. I'm sorry. There you go. Being a good father is a very high priority. Let me tell you why this is important, family. If you connect with a man and having a good father is a high priority, if it don't work out with you, it's always going to work out with the children. I could do a master class on that for a whole hour. See, there are some situations where men pull back completely. Oh, it didn't work out with the woman. So because it didn't work out with the woman, they don't hardly come see their kids. Because it didn't work out with the woman, they don't hardly call their kids. Because they couldn't have that woman. Because they bitter with that woman. Because they upset with that woman. Come on now. Because that woman no longer wants them. Because that woman had to cut them off and leave them for whatever reason. Because that woman did whatever she did, even if she did some wrong stuff. They pull back from the kids. That's not a good father. Okay, you want a man. You could tell, you know this when you're dating somebody, or if you have good conversations with them, and you start talking about being a fatherhood, or if they already have kids, you can see what kind of father they are to the children they have. And if they talk and go in terms about being a father and how important it was to them, whether it's based on their childhood, whatever, shoot, that's a pretty good candidate, because you realize that if they make something with you, they're going to keep their commitment to that. And they're going to always be available for that child, no matter what. It's these people out here that only want you. And if they think they can't have you, despite the fact that they made a child with you, then, it's over with for them. And then you call them, you coming to see so-and-so, you got to text them. Then the kids get old enough and start knowing that they're their father, and they whining and crying for them and wanting to see them. Then their feelings, listen, you could have stopped all of that had you just noticed from the beginning what kind of priorities that person really had as a father, as in terms of their desire in being a father or to be a father. It's got to be top priority. It's got to be something they say, listen, this is what I want to do, period, no matter what. Being there for my children, supporting my kids, loving my kids, praying for my kids, leading my kids, that is the highest priority for me. And now I'm going to give you number 5. Number 5 came to my mind. Can I give you number 5? Can I give you number 5? I said it was going to stop at 4. Can I give you one more, and then I'm going to release you? Let me put the giving opportunities up here, because some of y'all need to give today. Can I give you one more? Can I give you one more? Okay. And this is for any men that's listening too who might bring in women, the vice versa. I'm talking to women today because we're talking about fathers. I'm talking to, let me talk to fathers first. Fathers, never marry a woman with children and you decide you're going to be with her and you not accept them as your own children. And women, never marry a man who's going to be a father figure whether he wants to be a father figure or not, who can't honor and accept your children as his children too. See, when this dividing stuff, and I've been sharing this with people in counseling for years, it just doesn't really work. My kids and your kids, they got to be ours. I'm going to say it again. They got to be ours. You can't be, watch this, you can't be taking your biological kids to McDonald's and leaving your non-biological kids at home. No. You can't do that. If you're bringing a man who's like that, your children going to be hurt. Their feelings going to be hurt. What's the saying y'all say today? Butt hurt? Is that a saying? People say butt hurt. I think I've heard people say it. I don't really know what butt hurt means, but y'all, I'm just using modern day slang, modern day vernacular. Okay. So that man should want to share his love, his knowledge, his expertise with whoever he's connected to. And yes, they can have a good father. He's not trying to replace the existing father. But if he's a good man and a good father, he needs to continue to desire to be that for all that he has a responsibility for. Woohoo! Did I just say a word or did I just say a word? So if you start seeing signs early, I know of situations now. Here's to give you an example. I know situations now where couples were together and they had blended families, or let me say this a different way. They were together as a couple, and when they were together as a couple, say that they had, he had one child that was non-biological that was already born when he entered the relationship, and then he made a child with the woman, and they were together. So every time they went out to eat, he took them out to eat. Then all of a sudden, watch this, the relationship breaks down. The man ends up, if they living together, moves out. If they not together, he still believes he has an obligation to his, watch this, biological child. So now when he comes over to the house, he used to take both of them. Now he only takes one of them. Lord, if that ain't but nothing but a bunch of foolishness. And did you hear what I just said? The child that was once accepted is now excluded. How do you think that child is going to feel that the man he sees as a father now not picking him up no more? How do you think that child is going to feel? Neglected? And then then that child, that man could be the only father figure that child really knows too. But now he's got an attitude because he got an attitude with mama. He decided, I'm only going to do for my biological child. It's painful for the child. It's not fair. So y'all got to be careful who y'all rubbing up against. Y'all got to be careful, who you swap and spit with. Y'all got to be careful, who you curled up with. Y'all got to be careful who you spending time with. So these are my 5 things at the end I advise you to consider for fathers. All right? Y'all know I love you. I say whatever I say in love. It gives it to you in love. And y'all know I'm always here if you have any questions or concerns, advice you need, so forth and so on. Again, happy Father's Day. Celebrate good fathers, celebrate men. And I say this to any fathers who might be watching me who dropped the ball, it's not too late. It's not too late for you to step up to the plate and take on your responsibilities. And I support you. They said better late than never. Pull up a seat at the table. We've been waiting on you. And it would do our heart glad to see you show up and love on your children, lead them and guide them, and be the upstanding example of a man that your children need and desire. All right, did you enjoy today? Did you get anything out of this today? I didn't talk about my other stuff, but I just needed to talk about that. Did I make it make sense to you? Did I make it make sense to you today? Talk to me. I'm going to say a prayer over you for fathers, and then I'm going to say a prayer over you single people who, okay? Wonderful. Thank you for your feedback. Thank you for your feedback. Almighty, I thank you for all the fathers on here. I send strength and encouragement and wisdom to them. Sometimes they get tired and weary. They don't always have the answers. But God, I thank you that you're a very present help in time of trouble. And I thank you that you never leave us nor forsake us. Encourage, inspire, uplift, and renew that man. Bring out the best of a man and the best of a father that's already in him. Ooh, I feel that so strong. And send support from within all sectors, realms, and dimensions of this universe to enable him to be the best man and father he can be. And I bless you in Yeshua's name. It is so, so it is. And I pray for these women who are seeking companionship but require a good, trustworthy, steady father. I declare and decree that their hearts are open to see themselves first, to settle all issues within, to expand their self-concept. And then I pray that they be more open to your guidance and your voice. And then last but not least, that you will align them with the man among men, the father of fathers, one who will love and cherish not only his companion, but all children that he's assigned to. And I bless you and praise you. In Yeshua's name, it is so. And so it is. All right, I'm going to release you today with Shalom blessing. Please, if you would, use the giving opportunities at the bottom of the screen. Thank you all for your Father's Day sentiments. I am so, again, honored to, above all other things, have the love and legacy of children. All right? Don't forget what's happening during Bible, doing spiritual awakening on Wednesday nights. What's happening? How to deal with toxic family. Anybody enjoy last week's presentation? How to deal with toxic family? Talk back to me. I didn't get too much feedback. Well, y'all were, there was a lot of oohs and ahs in the comment section last week. But what did y'all think before we get off? What did you think about that? Yeah, what did you think about that? Love you too, my brother, Pastor Cotton. Yeah, I got some feedback even after it was over with, some pretty positive feedback. We're going to dive into it again in part 2. We want to expose, enlighten, illuminate, and then help people become the best versions of themselves. I got the counselor. He said he enjoyed it. All right. Wonderful, 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 wonderful. Thank y'all so much for your feedback. Let's bring some more people to that party this week. We want to help people become the best versions of themselves. So we'll be back again on Wednesday night. I'm getting ready to set up some text services and some email again. I used to have all that stuff. I'm getting ready to do that again. So some of y'all can be signed up to get alerts when I go live and make new posts. I'm working on all that, taking my, as we say, time, although there is no time, but just progressing through my checklist to get to that. All right. Again, don't forget to use the giving opportunities at the bottom of the screen. Happy Father's Day again to you all. Enjoy your day, and I'll see you soon. Shalom, shalom, peace, wholeness, and prosperity. Nothing missing and nothing broken. It is so, and so it is. Enjoy your day.